Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. It is Tuesday, September 16th at just a couple seconds after 4. Let's see, this meeting is being audio-video recorded. Anything you say or share will be shown on the town's YouTube channel. Please act accordingly. The HDC will take comments from the public they're due the Monday before the respective meeting at 8 a.m. The email address is hdcpubliccomment, all one word, at nantucket-ma.gov. hdcpubliccomment@nantucket-ma.gov. Thanks. Let's see, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
It'll be those present. So on Angus, Abby, myself, and Ray, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries. Any recusals on consent?
Check, let me see. No.
Okay, same
Not for
board.
me, anyway.
Motion?
Oh, I had a question. The 68 Center Street, it's on consent, but there isn't a consent person written in it, and the plan itself is pretty well noted, but then there are a bunch of photographs, and so I wanted to make sure that the plan was what
I'm
it's
not
gonna be.
aware of this one. Where, guys?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
through you, so I did work with the agent on this one. There's a
Okay.
couple of these. Well, there's a photograph in the application, which I did ask for them to be notarized or notated, if you will, of exactly, there's already existing curb cut. And what they're doing is just putting in brick with the, I believe, cobble in the middle, which is very similar to one across the street. It's just a mirror of that, but I did want it to be indicated on the plans because I agree. It was written out nicely, but it was not really identified with the photographs, but yes.
Okay, so Angus, were you getting at that the photo is not part of the plan, or I'm not sure what
There are a bunch of photos, and I just wanted to make sure some of the photos are, I think, appropriate, and other ones not.
So why don't we just pull that and review it quickly? Okay,
Sounds
the other thing, just as an operational matter, let's always have initials after consent. So if there's a question during the review or afterwards, we'll know who to go to, okay? So the motion, are you going to make a motion, Angus?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve consents with the exception of number 3, which is 68 Center Street.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Before we go on to old business, why don't we pick up 68 Center Street? Holly just spoke on it, and then we'll do the commissioner Q&A with preservation planner before we get into old business, okay?
Mr. Chair, Troy has her hand raised right now.
Well, why don't we pull up the drawings? We're going to take our normal course of business. So we'll pull up the drawings when we see the site plan. Tori, good afternoon. You can jump in once the site plan's up on the wall there.
Tori, if you can share.
Oh.
I don't have download.
Tori, can you share? We don't have access to it for whatever reason. Technology abounds.
Do we have the application here?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me? I just joined as a panelist. Sorry.
Yep, that's fine. Can you share the app? Do you have the digital version of the application accessible that you can share or no?
Yep, I do. I just have to go. I'm on my phone. I just have to transfer to my computer. Do you want to come back to me and address something else, or you want me to wait?
Well, we prefer not to wait, but it sounds like we're going to, so that's okay.
No, I'm fine. I just didn't want to hold up.
Yeah, okay. Why don't we pick you up around 4:15 just to keep things
Great.
going?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so that's going to move us on to Q&A with preservation planner. Anything for Holly?
Not for me.
Any new news, Holly? What's the latest in preservation planning?
Trying to get that CLG report out. I did want to mention that Leah Hill from the Natural Resources had reached out to me recently You all remember the proposal when on the CRP, the Coastal Resiliency Plan, where they were looking at elevating Easy Street? That there was, through those kind of discussions, there was a concern about what that means to our elevated buildings, if that's something that needed to be done. So long story short, they are working on doing an additional aspect of their plan, which would include an addendum to the Resilient Nantucket Design Guidelines, specifically for these elevated roadway spots. So once they go through that process to hire a preservation consultant, of course, the commission would be included, but I just want to let you know that's something that their department is working on with their main consultant.
So can you clarify that a little bit? It sounds, I'm not certain I'm understanding it fully.
There would be a sub-consultant
Okay,
for their project that they've been working on
yeah,
to look at our Resilient Nantucket Design Guidelines specifically for the elevated roadway and what that means and what that looks like towards the character and setting of the local and national historic district.
gotcha. So actually applying at a more, in a finer level detail, the
Correct.
existing guidelines to their project.
Correct.
Okay, just
Yes.
wanted to make sure I
Yep.
understood.
Absolutely.
Super. That's wonderful, good news.
And on that note, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to just put a reminder to the commission on any of the applications where I've indicated that we need either a historic determination and/or an elevation certificate with any potential approval on the applications that are before you this evening. That would be great.
Yeah, and actually, that's something I just want to pick up briefly. I want to get to a point, I'd like, Kathy, maybe we just put this on the agenda, that we vote that as a policy, and that it's just part of what gets collected as the application process. And it may not be something that has to be turned in right away, but it needs to be turned as part of issuing the COA. Simplifies it for everyone. Holly can still make her note, and at the same time, it just becomes systematic. So anyways, yeah, if we could put that on for a brief discussion, maybe in a vote, that'd be helpful. Okay, we're gonna, let's see, before we jump back to what I was thinking we'd hold off for Tori. Is she back? Tori, are you back? Do you have your digital information handy? No?
I am back. Yep.
Oh, you are? Okay, why don't we just go ahead with you before we start into old business?
Okay. Da-da-da. 68.
Oh, Holly, I was actually out of the office Friday when this came in. Now I recall it. Okay. When this came up.
Okay, now let me just go back to Zoom. Give me a minute. Share. Let me know if you guys can see it.
Yeah. We can see it. And,
Okay, great.
Tori, I don't want to do a full-fledged presentation at this point. It was
Sure.
on consent. The questions
Yep.
seem to be, or the concerns rather seem to be limited to which images are appropriate or not. So if we go to the images, and Angus, I think we'd start with you, just indicate appropriate or not, and then we can X out the ones on the screen that are inappropriate and go from there with the other members, okay?
Okay, so the photographic images is what you were referring to, right, Stephen?
Yeah. Angus,
Great.
appropriate, inappropriate.
So that one's cobblestone, so I think
This
that
is,
Oh, Tori, hold on.
sorry,
Hold on. Yep. Go ahead, Angus.
is like, I guess the question is this the site that is wanting to change?
yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. And so 57 Center Street, I think, is the one that you're shooting for, and that looks appropriate. It has a bay window to the right side of it. Ooh, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're going for.
Yes, and this is 57, and then 53 is the other photos I was just looking at, which is also across the street.
Okay, so given that, Angus, can we, does anyone have a concern or an issue with this particular?
No,
Okay.
so we're just striking the other photographs?
Yeah, and it'll be the same board that's voted so far for the
Yeah.
purpose of simplicity. And if we could get a motion that, this is what address, 57?
This one is 57 in particular that's on the screen right now.
Okay, so if we,
I have just
Go
a
ahead.
question on, are there dimensions on the intended design of this, so we know what's cobblestone and what's brick?
the proportions, that would suggest that the motion would be that the images other than 57 are struck, and that the proportions of the layout would closely mimic the 57. And then that way, done. Because you can get a relative measure off of the street, the sidewalk width.
So there are two cobblestone,
Yeah.
rectangles?
Yeah. And will we, Tori, will you go back to the image, please?
Sure.
57?
Of the one we were just looking at?
Yeah, 57. So it'll be not like that, not like that, not like that. It looks like a fire pit, and someone forgot to put the fire pit in.
That,
Like this one.
and so on this photo, you can see the sidewalk continues across the face.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case with 68. So whatever is standard, what's typical, the sidewalk goes through?
Sometimes it's a soldier course on its side, and sometimes it's not. So I would say whatever it is now is probably appropriate, because it's been there, and we would be addressing the driveway.
Do we need to look at 68 again to address that?
Hey,
Yep, let's please do
thanks.
that.
Okay.
There you go.
So
the
it would just
apron would
continue
remain the
right
same.
on up the drive?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good,
thank you.
Tori?
Yep,
I mean, you brought it up, so I wanted to touch
Yep.
base with you first.
nope, I'm
Okay.
good. Thank
Does
you.
anyone have any concerns about this approach?
On this particular photograph, it shows, are those Belgian blocks on the side and a few stones in the front, or is that just?
Those are
up here?
cobbles.
They're just cobbled. They
Yep.
just seem-
It's gonna go away, it's gonna look like 57.
So it's a brick with two segments of cobblestone in the middle.
Everybody clear? Any questions? Is there a motion, Angus?
Motion to approve as submitted,
Striking all images by 57,
striking all images but 57 Center Street.
and the actual build to closely follow the proportions of 57.
That's right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you said all that, the way you meant it. Thank you. On Angus's motion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that carries, and now we're on to old business.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Tori. 10 Cato Lane,
Mr. Chair.
Ridgevale.
Yeah, Rich is online and so is Jerry Durr.
Great. The board is myself, Commissioner Pohl, Camp, McLeod, and Thornwell.
Oh, she is there.
And it'll be the same board for the next, which is also, which is 8 Cato Lane, new dwelling. Okay. Rich, can you walk us through this in a non-complicated, this complicated topic in a non-complicated way?
Sure. Actually, I'm going to have Jerry take the lead on this. He's the architect. So we'll start with number 10. We'll kind of walk through what was approved, what modifications we're making, and then we'll go to number 8, which we addressed your comments from a couple weeks back. So I will let Jerry take the lead on the presentation, and we'll answer any comments and questions.
Sure. Hello, my name's Jerry Durr of JWD Design, along with Rich, for 10 Cato Lane. Can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Before we begin, I just want to make a note. It seemed like there was some confusion on the location of these properties on the last meeting. And I just want to note on the locust map that this is on the northeast side of Vesper Lane. So it abuts the land bank to the back and the cemetery to the west. So I just want to clarify the location of this. There's like 5 houses on this stretch of road.
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
We can, go ahead.
Okay. So as Rich had mentioned, this project was approved on consent previously. We're here before you. I think there's a little bit of confusion in the previous hearing on that, and I think we've since confirmed that it was approved by consent. And we're coming back to you with some minor revisions to that approval, which are shown on the elevations here. We have the proposed west elevation, which is the front elevation, the proposed south elevation, which is the right side. On the front elevation, we're removing the originally proposed chimney, and we're essentially flipping what was the mudroom here. So the entrance to the mudroom is closer to the front of the house versus the back of the house. This is that previous image there of that mudroom slash dining room. On the right-hand side, we had 2 windows on the second floor, and we just wanted to reduce that to 1 window. Again, this is the chimney. The rear of the house, we simplified what's the primary bedroom. We have 3 windows where previously we had a pair of French doors and a pair of windows. Removing the chimney, flipping the mudroom area on the right-hand side. The rear. On the left-hand side, we've relocated the areaway. We've removed the chimney here, and we've flipped the mudroom on the other side. So those are the minor revisions that we'd like to do to the approved consent of the original design for 10 Cato Lane. So I'm happy to
Thanks,
answer any
Jerry.
questions.
Okay, questions, anyone?
So,
Go ahead, Ray.
point of clarification, I guess. This house was approved on consent.
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question. So we had a streetscape before with 8 and 10 beside each other, so that we wouldn't have 2 buildings that look alike. And part of that was like flipping gables from one end to another, so it didn't look like. Is there an image that you have of this revised with the adjacent building?
There is.
Yeah, why don't we look at that now, Jerry, as
Okay.
opposed to waiting for 8?
Okay. So can you see those 2 images?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 10 Cato Lane on the right-hand side and 8 Cato on the left.
Okay, thank you. So that's from Cato Lane side.
Yes. And there was a question regarding this is Cato Lane coming down here. The property line comes down at an angle, and you can see how the homes are staggered. So you see 10 Cato Lane is set back from 8 Cato Lane just as a result of the property lines.
Jerry, can you zoom out a little bit, please?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, who'd like to begin? Again, keep in mind, please, we're focusing on modifications to prior approval, and number 8 is the next one where we may be able to, as the authority having jurisdiction, request more significant modifications.
I can start.
Right.
I must have missed the discussion about this having been approved. All of my comments actually related to things that aren't bubbled. So I have no issue with the things that are bubbled. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Does anyone have a concern with the bubble? I mean, they're relatively minor changes.
They are.
All right. We are
Stephen,
where
I have
we
a
are.
question.
Oh, Carrie, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm stuck on the fact that there's no driveway or anything on the plan. And I think the site plan is a requirement of the application. So I also have no problems with the architectural changes, but I just think it's incomplete. Not seeing any site plan information except the setbacks. I'm really confused as to the location of these buildings.
Carrie, this is Rich. I wanted to chime in. I mean, I did a quick landscape study which shows the proposed driveway. Would you like to see that, even though that will be at some point on a separate application, just to give you some context?
Yeah, because I think the approval of the building is also approving where it's sitting on the site, unless you plan on coming back to revise that.
Yeah,
with your-
so Jerry, let's see if we can pull up the landscape plan. What's unique about this particular zoning? It's has some weird zoning where you have a front 10-foot setback, a rear 5-foot in one of the sides. It doesn't matter which one. One has to be 10 and one has to be 5. So when you're looking at this, it's not your traditional zoning. This is like only one part of the island, and it's only a couple of lots, from my understanding.
Right.
But if you look at this is the landscape that I put together. This is on a separate application. It has not been submitted, but this will give you the sense of, the proposal, right? So you get the building footprint. We're going to bring the driveway, basically a tandem parking spot on the left-hand side that is within that 10-foot setback. And then, the goal for the landscape is to show a pool and a potential shed/cabana. So from this, you can kind of get a sense of what these lots would look like and how the driveways would function.
Yes, thank you.
Does this help?
It does.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, Carrie?
Not at the moment, no, thank you.
Okay, because I think we're going to be moving right along with this at this point. So if anyone has a concern, please state it now. Otherwise, I want to,
I have a concern.
yes, please.
So with the intended sort of scoop in driveways there with the two cars right on Cato Lane, going forward, like, not sure, I just looked down the street 5 minutes ago, I passed it, it's very rural. The other side of the street is a graveyard. It's maple trees, it's like you're in the country here, and suddenly we're gonna have these little scoop out driveways and cars, so we put this one on consent. I'm not sure everybody was aware of what was.
Yeah, I want to chime in. So again, this plan that.
Hold on. I want to cut the crosstalk because it's extending.
So I just
the
want to say,
topic unnecessarily.
going forward, I would like to pay attention to the streetscape and the setbacks. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to point out the landscaping and the hardscape, which is really what we would want, is not been approved. So there's no scoop outs approved, and they're also in the, I think this is a public way, right, Rich?
Of course.
I think this section is actually private, but I'm not 100% sure, and I'll clarify that. And when we do go for the landscape, I will make note of those scoop outs and not have those on the plan.
Yeah, okay. Okay, if you're gonna be there, my concern is that they're gonna be there, number one, not so much with respect to parking. That happens in a lot of these types of neighborhoods. I know it happens on my street. I wish it wouldn't, but if it does, I would prefer to have some type of a hardscape surfacing. My only concern would be that you've got, I think it would be appropriate if you're gonna be proposing these, to move the house back another 5 feet. So that, or at least the distance of the width of the car that's still in the right of way.
Understood.
The traveled right of way, not, depending on whether it's public or not, it could be wider than it's actually in a physical aspect. So that would be my only concern with the application. And again, if you're gonna put those in, I would request that we move the house back an equal distance so that the car will fit in. Anyone else?
So we're going to talk about landscaping.
Yeah, but this kind of relates to, moving the house has to do with moving the house, so it's relevant to this.
I had one other comment about the light well on that driveway side. I can't, when I look at the site plan, I can't quite get an idea of how much room is actually there, and that window well looks, I mean, it all looks so tight. So I just want to take that into consideration when we're
Right.
going forward.
Thank you, Abby. And Rich, that's going to be a well with it's going to appear to look like a deck with a railing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it won't actually look like a typical window well. It'll look like it's a deck adjacent to to the driveway. I'm not supporting it or not supporting it, just clarifying. Okay, Rich, you want to volunteer anything on the depth, or are you guys going to go with what you got?
Sorry, say that on the depth of what?
Depth of the location of the structure on the lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think for right now, I understand. I'm taking your points into consideration as far as that on-street parking. So I think for right now, we would like to leave the building against the setback, which is within the rights of the zoning. And then if we need additional parking and we go back, we could always request that as a change. But for right now, we'll leave it where the building is. And I will take in the notes regarding the parking on the street.
Fair enough. It sounds like you understand the sensitivity of the issue.
I do.
In context. Okay, what do we want to do, folks?
What was your suggestion about moving the house back?
If they're going to want the parking, I think they need to move the house back. So we can deal with that then, but I wanted him to know now because they pull a building permit and put in a foundation and then come in for the hardscape, it could be problematic for them.
So I liked your idea because, as I mentioned, the streetscape is rural, and moving it back, regardless of the scooping out of the driveway, I think moving it back 4 or 5 feet would be a little bit more in keeping with this neighborhood.
Can I make one point there?
Very quickly, because we want
Very quickly. So I pulled the files for number 2 and number 4, which is already built, and those are on the setbacks as well. So we are within keeping of the neighborhood on this section of road.
Okay, thank you. All right, Abby has voiced some concerns, and I have, and I think we're kind of where we are. So
Right.
what do we want to do?
I'm going to make a motion, but I do want to preface it. I would also love to see this house move back, but I feel like that it's unfair to approve something and then to unapprove it, sort of retroactively. So my motion is going to be to approve the changes that we're supposed to be reviewing right now, staying inside our lane, so to speak. I'm approving, my motion is to approve the changes as they have been submitted.
I'm going to second that for a brief comment. Sure. I agree with Commissioner Pohl, and I would just add that given if the hardscape comes in and the scoop outs are to be proposed, we did not previously review that topic, so we kind of need to be able to reserve the right to modify prior approvals for changing conditions.
Great.
Just to be clear to the applicant and for the record. And your motion is to approve
The
modifications
revisions as submitted.
not including the hardscape plan.
Oh, well, no, there is no hardscape.
Right, just for the record.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see, on your motion, Rick,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
I'm a no.
let's see, Angus,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, and 4 in favor for the record, Abby is opposed. Okay, now we're gonna go to 8 Cato.
Okay, so this is the, again, Jerry Durr from JWD Design, and Rich Craddock. As we just reviewed, we have the 10 Cato on the right and 8 Cato on the left. Site plans are down below, which was one of the requests that you had asked for in reviewing 8 Cato Lane. If we jump to the elevations, we responded to all of your comments, a majority of the comments. You can see the previous submission on the left-hand side, the revisions on the right-hand side. we understand the concern of the similar homes from the commission. And so what we've done is we've changed the second floor dormers to gable dormers, which helps to have the different appearance from one house to the other. But in any case, we have gable dormers. We've taken the primary ridge on the front of the building. We've increased the slope, which gives us a sense of hierarchy. It also relieves the tension from the windows on the second floor being too close to the rake in doing that. It was thought that there were too many dormers on the front. We've reduced the number of dormers from 3 to 2. We've changed the windows to 6/6, again, making it different from its neighbor. We held on to the board and batten. We like the detail that it provides, and that it also helps to separate it from its neighbor. And we did some reconnaissance in the neighborhood, and there is a fair amount of board and batten on many of the homes in the immediate neighborhood. So we feel that it's in context. So that's the front elevation, or the west. Again, on the right side, you see the higher ridge that gives us that hierarchy. We have the gable dormers. We also pulled the roof line, the low shed roof line, up so it is just below the second floor windows. So we no longer have that field of shingles below second floor windows.
Jerry, that's the timer asking you to please.
Okay. I thought it was somebody's cell phone. Okay. Here's the rear elevation again, with the shed dormers pulled up to the underside of the windows. The hierarchy of the ridges. The same on the left side. We have the 4 dormers that are gable dormers, and the 6/6 windows.
Okay.
And I just want to make one comment. So we did change the trim color to natural to weather, and the windows, the ones on number 10 are approved as black. Number 2, Cato Lane, is black. And we changed these to Quaker gray sashes. So just so you know, there is other hierarchy besides just the design elements.
Thanks, Rich. Okay, guys, same board concerns, please.
I can start.
Ray.
Okay, so I do appreciate a few of the gestures to differentiate this from its twin next door. The 6/6 I appreciate. The gray trim I also appreciate. Thank you. I'm still very much not in favor of the vertical board, particularly on the entire gable. I was reluctant on the number 10 to approve it just around the door. But I think that the switch to gables is definitely a step in the wrong direction, because those have an element of formality about them that sheds don't. My critique of this the last time was that there were too many dormers. And I think it's very rare that you'll ever hear me say that. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dormers on this relatively small house. I'd like to see instead sheds, because they're more rural in character, and fewer of them, combine them somehow so that there aren't so many perforations that they look like dentals up on the roof. And this one I'd like to see pushed back from the 10 feet, now that we got a bite at that apple. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone who'd like to add to the comments or reference them?
I can only agree 100%.
Okay. Abby?
Thank
I
you.
agree.
Excellent. Carrie?
I agree, but I'm really disappointed that these two masses read so similarly on this tiny little lane. I don't think it's necessary, but thank you.
Thanks. I'm actually a little bit different. I agree with the comments Commissioner Pohl made. However, I believe the prior roof, the ridge height of the main mast was more appropriate. This actually makes the structure look taller. With respect to the gable dormers, I won't address the concern I have there because we have a consensus on sheds. I would like to see the shorter roof, the lower roof planes of the main masses or the primary mast and the secondary mast. And I'd also like to see clip gables introduced. There needs to be something to start to take the perception of the structure down lower. And I think that between the combination of clip gables, shed roofs, and sheds versus gable, and having this back another 5 feet, it will actually have, I think as you walk by this, a perceptible difference. So those are my thoughts.
So you're in favor of the shed dormers rather than the.
Shed dormers, the prior massing, and clipped gables on anything that's a gable. It's reminiscent of Quidnet, and we see it in different areas around the island, and it's very successful. And it's also, it's just a traditional form. Not to sell it, but
Yeah. Well, the long and short of this is, I think the motion would be for revisions, correct?
correct.
Okay, so that is my motion.
All right, on your motion,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, we're on to 16 Wall Street. Let's see. It is myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and Joe. Joe, can you hear us?
I hear you loud and clear, yes.
Awesome, thanks. Just checking in. Hi, Robbie. Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Hello? Okay, see if I can see. I think if we just went to sheet number 1, please, Fiona, we could look at the site plan. So the, Mr. Carr might be joining us on Zoom, so I don't know if he's gonna, if he has made it or if he wants to comment on anything. However, I think he was intending to try to log in. So anyway, I believe I have addressed all the concerns except for rotating the structure 90 degrees on the site because it just kind of pretty much won't fit. So we can see that is evident on the site plan. Stephen suggested that we reduce the footprint by up to 100 square feet. I think I took off in deck closer to 200. I took off on the front porch, I believe was somewhere around 50. It's in my notes here, around 60 on the front porch. And in the back, somewhere around 150. So a little bit substantial reduction in the footprint because everyone thought it was getting a little bit too squeezed on the site. Joe suggested that and Stephen also suggested that that bump out that we had on the left-hand side on Walt Street, that we pulled that back a little bit. And Joe's suggestion, which was, I think, was very much appreciated, I was able then to connect those eaves all the way across to the side porch on the east elevation, which really ties that side piece in together. So perhaps if we could scroll to sheet number 4, it shows the east elevation. If everyone's there on their pads, because Fiona gone. Okay. Sheet 4, please, Fiona. Yeah, there you go. So the other two proposals are the schemes on of course, the smaller ones below. The existing is the scheme on the left, and 1/8 of an inch, and then it progresses around. So you can see that I just tied those two fascias together, reduced the size of that, and reduced the front porch a little bit, which is the form on the right, and pulled that back a little bit so it has a little bit less tightness on the setback lines. And if you could scroll up, please, Fiona, we could see sheet number 3. Okay, so this is the Walt Street side. Just shows a reduction in that porch. Again, reducing those 2 tall gables that were of concern, how we were going to soften those. So those are the changes. I think I addressed most of the concerns that everybody had. So let's see how we are.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the modifications and the succinct presentation. Who'd like to begin? Oh, actually, questions? Anyone? Are there any abutters?
No, Mr. Chair, but Mickey Rowland is here.
I see Mickey. I saw him in my peripheral vision. Mickey?
Thank you. This is Mickey Rowland. I'm representing the Historic Structures Advisory Group, which is myself, Jason Singer, Mary Bergman, and Marshall Bader. So our concern is still mostly to do with the rotation of the building. We would much prefer to see it aligning with East Lincoln because that's where the front of the house actually faces. And by rotating it essentially clockwise to align with East Lincoln creates a much greater setback off of Wall Street. It gives you the distance that is not quite what's there now, but more consistent with the rest of the houses on Wall Street. My concern before was, or I guess the applicant's concern was that it wasn't going to fit by doing that. So I went to the trouble to actually graphically see if that would work, and it does work according to what I got right here. It can rotate and still fit within the setbacks. So that's what we think it should be doing, is facing East Lincoln, and that's the stand we're still taking. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Let's see. Who was up?
I have a question.
Yeah, me too, I have a question.
Mickey, have you shared that drawing with Robbie?
Yes, he did.
And
Well, that pretty much eliminates any fraction of a backyard that they have in that back southwest corner. And even when you rotate it, it's only going to make a difference of 4 or 5 feet. I mean, that's this much further from the setback. So visually, is it making a tremendous impact? No.
Okay, 2 opposing opinions. We get to wrestle with these. Okay, who's next? Oh, Abby, you had another question?
And the other point is, essentially, this is oriented exactly the way the footprint is now. If we go to sheet number 7, you can see that. So the outline in red. So the orientation is askew on the lot right now as it is.
Okay.
So, there we go.
Abby, question? Or you
Yeah, you, Stephen, had suggested about going back to the original area, that the deck was much less. And did you
I did.
look at that?
I did.
Okay, because
It's-
I can't tell from these site plans are so light, I can't.
Yeah.
So there's more,
Yeah.
there's more, yeah, to me, in general, just if I could just continue,
Yeah, please.
the house itself on this site, it seems so shoehorned in. I wish there was some breathing room on either end. And if turning the house to have it parallel to East Lincoln would give the house a little more area, breathing room around it, then I would be more in favor of that.
Okay, thank you. Ray?
well, now that I'm aware that the house can rotate, maybe not totally parallel to that sideline, but, I'd love to see some gesture in that direction, because frankly, that seems to me, been the main concern that this board has had with approving this is its proximity along Walsh. You know, it's, in fact, it's kind of hugging that line. Thanks.
Angus?
Yeah, I'm part of the theme here. I think what the issue is because this was subdivided, that there was a choice to make it a lot tighter than it originally was. And the siting, it was further off Wall Street, but by dividing the lot and moving this, it makes what was already sort of a weird orientation to East Lincoln, and its orientation to Walsh worse. So I agree with the others about having it oriented towards East Lincoln. And I think that would also mitigate to a certain degree the sort of a staggered offset of Walsh rather than it sort of being all sort of on and facing Walsh. Thank you.
Thanks. Joe?
I certainly wouldn't be against the rotation, but I think that the revisions that were done to that east elevation where we gain a significant length of single-story eave and we lose a second-story eave has reduced the scale greatly along that street facade, but sorry. Sounds like I might be in the minority, but I'm okay with the changes as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that leaves me. I'm actually not thrilled with the changes overall, but I think they make the structure more appropriate. I believe that it simplifies the structure consistent with what used to be there. Frankly, it's a net improvement on the building itself. But it simplifies it more in the nature of homes historically in that area. Fewer dormers, more large masses, smaller masses clunked together. So I'm okay with the structural massing. I would prefer that it would be smaller overall. My concern was never so much the orientation to the street, given the fact that East Lincoln is there and the other structure, although we haven't seen it yet, correct?
Which, the new one?
The one on the new lot adjacent.
It's approved.
Is it?
Yeah.
I may not have sat on it. That faces East Lincoln. So you have two structures that face the same way, as opposed to having one on this kind of odd corner. So I'm actually okay with it as submitted, although I would prefer that it be probably like 15% smaller overall. But we're talking about a structure that's being moved and being retrofitted, so
Correct.
it is what it is. Okay, what do we want to do, folks?
I'm happy to make a motion. I appreciate the changes that have been made, so I would make a motion to approve the alterations as submitted, but rotating it so that it's oriented towards East Lincoln.
Okay, I'd like to second that just for some clarification from Robbie, okay? I'm looking at this and maybe it's a illusion of the eye, but how is that rotate and fit on that lot?
Well, Mickey drew it so that it rotates and it's parallel to the westerly boundary line. So,
I apologize. I thought we were talking about rotating this 90 degrees.
no way.
It's funny you said 90 degrees and I was like,
How is that ever
There's no
possible?
way. There's no way.
Robbie, what's,
You know,
5 degrees.
is there an overall concern?
Mr. Carr asked me not to rotate it. We're trying to save a little bit of what is going to be left of a backyard, which is just that back corner. If we pull that away from Walt Street, that's just gives us a little bit of room for some landscaping. It's the
Okay, thank you, Ray, and then I'll have a comment.
I feel like I'm at town meeting now.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a modification to the
Point of order.
modification that was just modified. So I know that the full rotation, for it to get fully parallel, would bring it right up to the setback on the, I guess that would be the west side, right?
Yeah.
And was the number 4 feet, like that piece would move 4
Well,
feet?
if you look at Mickey's sketch, right, it just pulls it away. It looks like about.
I was just gonna, in the interest of the yard, I was only gonna suggest, rather than twisting it 4 feet, go half and half between where it is now and parallel to the lot line. So that you do have somewhat of a space to plant there. Just a suggestion, to move it along, so to speak.
Yeah. And while we're looking at the imagery, Robbie, what about just taking on the Wall Street side, front porch left, as you're facing from East Lincoln? Take a foot and a half off that porch on the left side, so.
I can do that.
You can then you can push it a little more towards East Lincoln
Uh-huh.
and meet the rotational requirement that seems to be the consensus of the board.
Actually, what I want to do is pull it more to the south, and then I can rotate a little bit more.
So are you amenable to a site plan modification as opposed to us trying to do that with an Exhibit A?
I
Pick it
am.
up at the next meeting at the beginning? So we're looking for a
Absolutely.
site plan modification to reflect the rotation, slightly downsizing that front porch, and sliding it a little more towards East Lincoln.
You mean a week from tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I wanna get,
okay. Subject to amended motion from Angus.
I will amend the motion to hold for revision.
Thank you. Those revisions.
specific revision.
Yes. Okay. Joe, do you have any I know you're not here, so I want to be observant in the room.
I'm following along and I support the revised motion.
Okay, thank you. On the motion, Joe?
Aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Ray? Abby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, you want that at the beginning of the meeting next week?
Beginning the meeting subject to meeting the submission deadline.
Well, that was already passed, it was yesterday.
Oh, well, there you go. When did that? I thought that was
Next week
Thursday.
is new business,
Oh, okay, yes.
so the deadline was yesterday.
Subject to submission Friday by 8 AM. Okay, you can put a site plan together between now and then?
I'll get it in tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
Even better.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion approved. We're moving on to revisions.
Hey,
and-
point of
Yeah.
order or whatever. It sounds like Connie and I are both having issues with access on our little laptops. I'm getting this error.
So I would
And
try
Abby
rebooting.
too. and-
Definitely,
So far, I'm getting what I'm looking for, but
You can't?
I can.
You
Yeah.
can.
Perhaps turn it off and turn it back on.
I did that, doesn't work.
Yeah, it's
did
the
it.
connect, it's
It
the.
was working and then it
it's the
just stopped
connection.
working.
Yeah, it's a connection. I
Okay.
don't, there's nobody here that
Guys,
can answer it
crosstalk.
now.
So we have a problem with data
I
and,
just left, if we could clear.
yeah,
it
no,
up.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
mentioning
Thank
it.
you.
I just don't want to go down a rabbit hole of
Yeah,
discussion
yeah.
about
Yeah.
stuff that we can't fix. I'd like to just ask if Fiona, you can just try and overcome inertia here and slow download speeds and just do your best, of course. Thank you. Okay, we're all with it. We're all in it together. Robbie, 4 Wood Hole, Hollow Road, new dwelling.
Okay. Linda, you want to go? Go ahead.
I did see it earlier, up back in the review packet, and the neighbors are still concerned it's going very far, much better than it was before. It really is. I think they're still concerned about the visibility, which Rob can't do anything about at the moment. And they're still concerned about the 70-some odd feet length, but it is staggered back on the north side, northwest side. It's still a 2-story house with flush dormers on at least 3 of the elements. I know I put a eave across the third element, but it's still 2 flush dormers in the front facing the street. It's still a completely full 2-story house. I see. The dormers seem a little overlarge or under-fenestrated, one or the other. So they're still concerned about the issues that we raised before about the height and stuff. But I think if he doesn't want to fill it, take some out. But that's the existing house up there. So that's pretty much where we are with that.
Okay. Robbie?
Okay, great. Fiona, could we go to sheet number 3, please?
I love when they do that. Sheet number,
Yeah.
boom, done, ready to go.
Uh-oh. Standing on its head. but that's two.
Oh, I just want this to.
Okay, so this, oh,
Do you have anything else open on there?
okay, so this is the front elevation. It's the same idea, the progression of the designs. The larger one obviously is the new proposal. We've incorporated the wraparound porch, extended it to the left-hand side. We've dropped the eave line so that they are not a continuous, read as a continuous line. The back form is over 30 feet back, so it's not quite as massive across the front as Linda's proposing. You can see that we've reduced the size of the dormers, refenestrated a little bit, broken down the left-hand side with a one-story form. The main leading form is 28 feet. The other two drop back to 25 and 24, which gives us a mean ridge height of about 26 feet. And Fiona, if you could go to sheet number 7, please, I believe it is. Should be the last one. So here are some examples from a very short walk around this property. You can clearly see that there are several full 2-story, no dormers, all of them approaching 30 feet, variety of forms. Got a large garage with 2 large front doors facing the street, full 2 stories, all within short walking distance of this property. So I believe we've answered a lot of concerns, and I think we have an approvable project here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. Okay, same board. Actually, not the same board. Myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and Connie.
I can give it a go if you'd like.
Please.
I appreciate the changes, and it has a much more of a cottage effect, and especially with that wraparound hip porch. Just wondering if that hip on the left couldn't extend to that second mass and not sort of bisect that last window in the second floor of that middle mass. Just bring it over a couple of feet and have it go back the way, same way that it does on the right. But I appreciate the changes and the scale and everything, so thank you.
Thanks, Abby. Let's see, Connie.
Yeah, I also appreciate the changes, and I really don't have any concerns. Thank you.
Angus.
I appreciate the changes as well. I think it was, for me, it was helping to have a different setup, even if the windows were the same height, to have the windows set back in that middle section up in the dormers they were presented on September 16th. Or that's an option for today. So that's, yeah, I would go with that one, where it really reads differently, but you pretty much have the same program. So, yeah, that's what I would be in favor of, option A.
Right?
I was gonna complain about the size of the little dormer on the third little bear back, but, given what everyone else has said, I'm fine. I won't complain.
I'm with Ray. Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve option A.
Okay, let's see, we're all here, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carries unanimously. On the next one, since we have 2 associates who sat on this Woolwood Hollow so far, right? Oh, no, that was 16 more.
I just have Connie.
Yes, so Connie. Okay, I wanted to pull a number out of that. Robbie, Cabana?
Linda doesn't have any problems with the cabana.
Oh, then it's gotta be okay.
What else can I say?
To cut to the chase, this, oh, we don't have it up yet.
Does Abby have any concerns?
No,
Okay.
no,
Does
no, I was
anyone
going
have
to,
any concerns?
No.
No.
yeah, you can't see it,
Can't see it.
no.
I'll trust that.
Yeah. Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Concerns with the pool, subject to non-visible time of inspection or thereafter, and no changing grade from prior existing to the time of application.
That's my motion.
Any concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
May I ask a question before I leave?
Yeah, we did the vote. Go ahead.
Okay. The approval on the house, that was with option A?
That was Angus's motion, yeah.
Okay, so that's the way we're approving it, which is fine. I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that an Exhibit A thing?
Well, yes, it's fine, and yes to,
Okay,
and yes to A.
okay.
Angus, will you
Thank you.
mark up the drawings as Exhibit A? I'll
But
pass it.
can I just, point of clarification?
Guess
You, Angus, your motion was to approve option A,
Yes.
right? Not an exhibit A.
Yeah, so
There,
we're,
there were no changes, so there doesn't need to be an exhibit A. Am I saying that correctly?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So no exhibit A.
Okay.
We don't draw anything up. We approved it as it was submitted.
yeah, we would just note on the application,
Oh,
under
okay,
conditions
that.
and
Yeah,
restrictions,
no, there was another,
that it's option A.
it's all been.
Oh, it's already done. It just says option A.
Okay, good. Yes, sir, thank you.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah,
That's how we
everybody
work.
happy.
Okay, let's see, we're moving on to 10 C Street. You see Ben is here. Ben, your board is myself, Abby, Val, who is not here currently.
Mr. Chair, she is here.
She is here?
She's remote.
Well, hello, Val.
Hello.
Little
I'm trying there.
technical energy into the room. Thank you. Myself, Abby, Val, Angus, and Joe. Go ahead and begin when you see your site plan.
Great, so Fiona, if we go to sheet B, that would be super helpful. It shows the pictures and the streetscape. There it is. So if we look, I wanted to just before we look at the elevations, look at the bottom left-hand corner. That's on Ash Street, and that's a historic structure, and one that we're very much trying to kind of emulate here. So as we think about these elevations, that's Ash Street right around the corner. And I just wanted to bring that up as we talk about this, what we're trying to do here on C Street. So now we can go to the elevations. So last time we met, there was feedback that the massing on the left of the main mass was too big. So we've reduced it by 2.5 feet, brought it down to a single window dormer. And additionally, on the main mass and the side mass, that the pitch was too steep from an 11 pitch, so we went down to a 10 pitch. So that reduced the whole overall height of the building by about 8 inches or so. And of course, the secondary mass as well got smaller. Joe made a comment that the front door didn't have enough door trim, so I've beefed up what you can see of the door trim, some of it being hidden by the porch, but that was modified as well. And was not able to track down the FEMA certificate from the surveyor yet, but I'm working on it. So I understand that is required now. So I am working on him issuing that. So that's not been forgotten. Lastly, I did not reduce the width of the roof walk as been requested by Historic Structures Advisory Group. The 9-foot width, I understand everybody wants an 8-foot width, or certain members do. I don't know where that number exactly comes from. Many roof walks are over 8 feet wide, so I think this one is nicely proportioned, and I would like to still request that we keep it at the 9-foot width. And with that, that's what I have to say.
Thanks, Ben. Any questions for Ben? Any of others? Mickey?
We're pretty good with all the changes that Ben has done. We still have a issue with the width of the roof walk. I generally think that most roof walks are 8 feet or under. And when you get wider, they get leggy, just too bulky. So that was really our only concern. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, who'd like to begin? Concerns?
I'll go, Mr. Chair, if you want. It's Val.
Please. Thank you.
Sure. I appreciate the changes, Ben, as always. What is the skirt on the roof walk? Is it natural to weather? Is the roof wood?
Yes, the roof is cedar shake, and we'd be happy to maintain the skirt as a natural cedar board.
I think for me, that would really tone it down, and that's my only comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Val. Abby?
Yeah, I'm wrestling with the sort of the top hat, sorry, on that main peak. I'm not sure that I'm going to go along with it, but I appreciate the other changes. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, Angus.
I agree with Mickey's comment about the 8 feet. I mean, the division of rails usually doesn't get much more than 8 feet just because things used to sag. Things might be engineered differently these days, but also I agree that the length of it gets long. It's not as bad as it was with the steeper pitch, but it's still long. And if you look at the pictures of 15 Water Street and looking at the open posts coming down to the roof, it just looks so much more appropriate than having a skirt around it at all. So I would be in favor of it being 8 feet and no skirt. But I want to say I appreciate the simplifications and the modifications that have been brought forward.
Thank you. Joe, I want to just tell you, unintentionally I've been picking you second to last to be in good company myself, but on the next two you're up, I want to give you a warning, you're going to be first, which is 35 Meadowview. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Val. I appreciate all the changes, and if the material change happened on the roof walk, I'd be okay.
Thank you. I agree with Joe and Val. Can we get a motion?
Could I clarify
Abby?
just, the roof walk, the supports, are those white like the trim, or are they?
It
Natural
intended
weather.
to be white, but if it would please more board members, we'd be happy to not paint the entire roof walk, and it'd be completely natural.
Natural to weather.
Yep.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. And that motion is?
Motion to approve is submitted with the roof walk being completely natural to weather.
Okay, on your motion.
Aye.
Abby,
I'm an aye.
Joe,
I'm an aye.
Angus,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. And just like that, we're on to 46 Super Farm.
Thank you, everybody.
Chris, good evening. After this one, we're going to take a 10-minute break.
Oh, and I brought some
Sustenance is here.
brought some cutie.
Oh, I thought you said you brought some Cabernet.
I know. Don't say that.
Doesn't go with key lime pie.
No, it goes with pizza. Okay. What do we got, Chris?
Hi, everyone. How are you? So this was heard a few weeks ago, and our changes obviously are reflected upon a lot of the board's comments. I think the general consensus that we took from it was, number one, this was a 2.5-story massing, so within the neighborhood aspect of it was reducing the overall height of the structure. which we reduced the overall height by roughly almost 2.5 feet. And obviously, I think from the fenestration perspective, it's completely, well, it can look a little bit of the same. We ended up more of like a high post cape, dropped our eave lines, did dormers instead, extended the farmer's porch across the front just to try and, I think one of the comments was just too much exposed shingle. So that was one thing that we had done. And then I would say probably the biggest change was in the rear, the horizontal aspects of the rear windows. So what we did to accomplish what you're looking at here is I dropped the plate height on that rear shed massing a 1.5 feet to reduce that. And then we also got rid of we had a 12-foot slider that was there. We just went to a 6-foot slider with just 2 flanking windows. And by doing that, we were able to get some larger double hung windows and eliminated all of the smaller awning windows that were on the rear of the property as well. And also by reducing that slider, we were able to just reduce it and just do a small landing instead of a bigger deck off the back of the structure there as well. And then if we look at if you don't mind, the next page, just obviously the bigger change again, going to more of that high post cape feel. And then the other comment that was made was just reducing the size of that shed massing off the rear. So we did bring that, Stephen, I think you mentioned bringing it in a foot as opposed to the way that we had it. And it did make a huge difference just on the overall feel of it too. So reduce the square footage of the property, reduce the height, change the fenestration. We moved it actually off the rear setback a little bit as well. I don't know if there was any comment from the neighbors, from what original. I personally went out there and met with a couple of the members on I should say the neighbors on the side. Kind of went through some of their concerns with everything, and hopefully, I believe I addressed their concerns. They seem to be happy with what I did here. So I did want to just mention that there was an effort to do that as well. That's it. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so it is myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and Carrie.
I can start.
Ray.
I appreciate all these changes. It's just what I was looking for. The 1.5 story, great. Windows, great. The farmer's porch, all of it, I think is, I appreciate. Thanks.
Thanks. Angus?
I agree. The only thing that's sort of catching my eye is the gable window on the south. But I don't think it's going to be really that visible, so I'm good with it.
Carrie?
Yeah, I appreciate all the architectural changes for sure. Again, I'm having an issue a little bit with the sighting of it, and I just wonder if anybody looked at having it parallel with the street and let all the parking be in the back. I don't know if that was ever looked at.
Am I allowed to address that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so just because it's funky on the I almost feel like on the site plan rather than when you actually go to the structure and how everything's kind of laid out on the property itself. And Carrie, I'm sure you obviously know this area.
Yep, I went by.
Yeah, what's not shown here, so there's kind of two aspects to this, and the reason we were looking at it the way that we did it this way. So a lot of the neighboring properties have smaller structures, and the way that Brenda kind of sits and then Hall as well. There's a lot of small massings with like the larger massing right in the back, and it's separated by lealands and different landscape features, which we're more than happy to have as part of this, is kind of individualizing the property. One of the things that I addressed with the neighbor that's right in the back on 44, and I just want to be conscious of this for them as well. Right behind this structure on what you're seeing as Hull Lane, which would be north, there's like a 2.5 story massing garage that's right behind there. That's that's her studio for that end of it. So the structure itself being there, as opposed to like kind of the left of that, that's not shown, is there. Like they have a small ranch that's right there. So if I moved it and I made it parallel, My only concern is I would literally be just right over their house, their main house. And it was something I addressed with them, and they mentioned like we'd rather have the sighting here than doing it parallel or anything similar on that end of it. So I did just want to mention that one concern.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
Carrie, anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Ray, you went. Angus, did you go?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, I didn't go.
Color your box and add.
What is the elevation that's on the Brenda side? Is that south? Okay, all right. All right, then I will take back what I was going to say about that. No, I too was kind of confused about the 46 Hooper Farm Road and then have the driveway off Brenda. So, are we looking at a landscape plan or?
That would come separate.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All right.
that there was an original driveway on Hooper Farm that's abandoned because that was a shared driveway with the neighbor. So everyone agreed. I think in like 2 months that
Okay.
easement goes away and we're gonna use it.
Okay, nothing on the architecture then, thank you.
Okay, I'm good with it, given the context of the area, including these, cypress that are like windbreaks on the vast western plains. They're huge architectural elements, so this is just gonna fall into the background to the extent it can even be seen. Motion?
I can move to approve this as submitted.
Carrie on the motion?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Angus?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, Chris, you got yourself an approval.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Chris.
much, everyone.
Thank you for the
Appreciate it.
changes, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Of course, thank you.
So, let's see, we'll be back here at 5:27-ish. You with us now?
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
And Ethan McMorrow with?
Hi, I'm Ellie Foley, an architect artist, and I'm on the review board with the Artists Association.
Good evening.
Again, I'm Tracy Sears, the Executive Director. Thank you.
Hey, Teresa, good evening. Okay, Ethan.
Yeah, so I went through made the changes you requested. The one thing I didn't get to is the overall streetscape. I just ran out of time with all the other buildings, but I did submit a 3D model. And the other thing is, I tried to get, existing, previously approved and proposed all in one page. It didn't fit because I figured they should be all the same size. So I have the last page has the original submission. But on this one, what we did is we went through and we removed the cupola. We removed the all that Greek ornamentation stuff. And we changed the roof pitch back to matching the original roof pitch, which lowered the plate height down. We took the front glass, facade and reduced all the millions of buttons that were there, beefed up the center rail, the rail, so it matches the height. The picture window is the height of the door with the spacing to the transom, and the window panes on the right and left storefront windows match that. And the one reason why they wanted to have the open picture windows instead of the ones with the bars, because they can display their artwork that people walk by. Right now, as you walk by the places, art displayed in those windows. And it's also, the buildings similar down the street have a similar look to that. But also, the rear kind of looks the same. And the side, we added also back to the front, if you go back to the front elevation, where there was a comment about, Fiona, can you move it back to the front elevation? Yeah, there was a comment about on the left side, there was a blank wall. That wall is, so there's a patio there, and that whole patio area is going to display outdoor artwork, but there was a comment about putting a window in there. So we added that little window that goes in the utility area and just leaving enough room so they can display art on the outside for our outdoor exhibits, as well as the large dormer in the back by lowering the rouge plates and the plates and all that stuff lines up at the center of those windows, and that's like the studio north light window. That's it. There's a model in there somewhere.
Pardon me?
There's a model in there somewhere, 3D, that you asked for, a revise in the packet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's see, any questions for Ethan? There's no abutters, Kathy? I didn't see any hands up. Mickey?
So the changes that have been made are definitely an improvement. It overall feels better. The scale feels better. The concern that we still have is that the first floor has an 11-foot ceiling height, which just feels, it puts the entire facade sort of out of scale. If you look at the front door of the building, the door is practically dwarfed by the whole presentation of the front. We're hoping to knock that ceiling height down to around 9 feet, and that would really bring the whole building down to a proper scale as it kind of is now. And that's really our biggest concern. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see, Ray.
Sure. I appreciate, Mickey, the concern about the 11-foot, because I'm feeling, like Mickey, I appreciate these changes. I should say that first. But he, in a different way, expressed the same kind of concern that I do, which is the building is feeling much more vertical now than it's the current building. I think that reducing the ceiling height on the first floor would help a lot. The other thing that, Ethan, you made mention of is you said you removed the Greek Revival trim. Interestingly, so the storefront part of it still is Greek Revival, and I like the storefront piece of it a lot. It actually looks a lot better than the existing one. But now we have the second floor that's sort of blank, and in looking at the rendering that you did, which again, I appreciate a lot, if you did have the sort of Greek revival horns that came in on either side, I think that would actually be an enhancement. So I'd be in favor of that. So I guess the major, and I'm not like terribly concerned about what goes on the sides, or the side that I'm looking at that has a little courtyard looks fine to me. Removal of the cupola, great, love that. So really looking to just get the building down a little bit. And my own view, and it might not be shared by other members of the board, is I think that the Greek revival horns would actually be a nice detail to maintain on the front of it.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Ray, what is it, the horn, what are the horns?
You know
Oh,
the-
return, oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little,
So, yeah, I kind of agree with what's been said, that it has gotten a little vertical. And I would like to see more detail above too, so that the first floor relates to the second floor. And I hate to bring up the Bookworks, or whatever it's called on, Bookworks on Broad Street, but that revision or that renovation was so successful, and it was just I think it was even just a one-story building, and, but the two stories relate to one another really well now. I don't know if it's clabbered or if it's a shiplap. There's something about it that's a little bit, sort of, it's not typical, but anyway, the verticality, I love the storefront windows. I would add some Greek revival elements to this to tie it all together. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see.
I appreciate the direction this is going with a simplification. And I see Ray's point, and I agree with it to a certain extent, that the top and bottom, the first and second floor, really want to be able to relate to each other more than what's shown. So it may be reducing the amount of detail on the lower part and increasing it on the upper part. I agree with the lowering of height. In general, I have a hard time with it. You know, one of the first buildings that would have been built after the Great Fire of 1846 being rebuilt. In the floor plan, it's not completely clear, but it looks like first and second floor walls are being rebuilt, or they're shown as new walls. It would be helpful to see exactly if those are the existing walls. It would be preferable to be keeping them and building off of those. And if they aren't, it would be good to have that delineated. And the last thing is that.
Just so you know, they're on your drawings, they're very light dash lines. If you zoom in, you might be able to see them. The existing walls are all there.
I see them on the interior. It's hard to tell on the exterior what they are. But the other thing that I thought we had asked for was a streetscape with the adjacent buildings. And I think that it would be helpful to see both, existing and proposed, to really put this in perspective of the scale change here. And that's what I have for now. Thank you.
Can we just say one thing about the height? They really are trying to gain wall height on the first floor because of artwork. That's why the ceiling's at 11 foot. That's why the building's going up.
Gotcha. Okay, let's see, who's that lead?
Me.
Val Oliver.
Hi. So I've looked at this a couple times and went down there this morning. I actually contrary to everybody else's opinion, think that in its simple form, this is the best rendition. We have on the left of this, the full-on yellow clapboard with all the ornate trim. And on the right, it used to be something natural way back when in Garrison Travel. I don't know what the flavor of that building is, but it's significantly different. So for me, keeping this individually simple, which is what the building was to start off with, is really important. So I appreciate the changes that Ethan's made. Aside from lowering a height on the first floor and maybe bringing down the height a little, I really appreciate this change, and I would like it to stay as simple as possible so that it has its individuality. That's my opinion.
Thanks,
Thank
Val.
you.
Because my mic isn't on, and Mickey usually catches me because he's back at home listening on the YouTube. So my thoughts are, first of all, I appreciate the changes. I think you've gone, I'm like there. What I would suggest is, my concern is by lowering the first floor a foot or more, you're going to throw the perception of proportion between the first and second floor way out of whack. And not only based upon the heights, but based upon the formality on the first floor and the lack of formality on the second floor. On the first floor, there's many more details to catch the eye and redirect the eye. On the second floor, which will be taller, or appear to be taller, it will be taller. It will appear to be taller because it will be, relative to the first floor, taller than it is now. I think it's going to skew the whole building. My suggestion would be take 6 inches off first floor, 6 inches off. Basically take a foot out of the structure, 6 inches out of each floor. Keep the second floor simple. I don't have any concern with a very simple return on the gables based off a Greek revival. And that would really be my take on what.
That's easy to do.
Pardon me?
We can do that. It's easy.
What do we want to do, folks?
I could venture to make or try to make a motion.
Okay, it was in Exhibit A that you can do tomorrow in the office.
Okay, if nobody can do it there.
I can do it, Val.
Motion to approve as submitted today, taking 6 inches out of each floor.
Okay. So any seconds?
And do you want those returns on the break?
No, I think it's in its simplicity, it looks more like the original building. But that's me, so, yeah.
Thank you, Val. You want a second
Just,
for discussion?
I know, yes.
Your clarification?
Yes, clarification. The trim of those store windows, what color is that?
Right now, it's currently white. The whole thing's white trim, cedar shingles, asphalt roof.
And
Budget.
the fascia strip above those windows is also white?
Currently, it's all white, so we're going to maintain the white because you see, I put in, that's where the quarter board would go, saying the name of the place.
Okay, right, got it.
So that would stand out.
Okay. All right, just wanted to clarify that, thank you.
So we have a motion to approve subject to, I think we actually could just do that as a modification, a condition restriction.
In writing, yeah, I think so.
So to reduce the building by a foot, 6 inches off the first and each of the first and second floor. So that's Val's motion. On your motion, Val.
Aye.
Let's see, Abby.
I think I wanted to see a few more changes, so I'm a nay.
Okay. Ray?
I'm wondering whether it's about to do the horns, but
We reserve the right to claw back if we need the horns.
The horns are easy to do.
but it's not part of the motion right now.
Correct.
You are correct.
Shoot. I'm going to abstain just to see where this is all going for now.
I would suggest maybe just not Do you want to just hold your vote?
I'll hold my vote.
Okay, yeah, just to not confuse that.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate that clarification. Let's see, that leaves Angus,
Nay.
2 nays. Ray is holding, and I'm a yes.
So what's that, 2 to 3?
It's 2 to 2,
2 to 2.
and if Ray votes.
Oh, thanks. I see
God.
I see what you did.
I'm not gonna have you abstain on me again and leave us hanging like that.
Motion to
Well,
reconsider.
Mr. Chair, I can amend my motion to include the horns.
Subtle horns?
You know, what Ray was talking about, that's fine. It's still simple. I like it.
You good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so we have, just to be clear, the motion is to modify the submission to reduce the overall height of the structure a foot, taking 6 inches out of each floor, and to add on the front gables, and where applicable, simple Greek revival returns, simple versions of Greek revival returns.
That's my amended emotion. Motion.
Sorry, just because the minutes makers, I'm trying to make this simple for them. So that's your motion, Val?
Yes.
Okay. Abby, you want to second it?
I
for
want to
discussion?
second it for discussion.
No, I do feel like we're at town meeting.
So I just wanted to say that I think the second floor windows are very vertical, and so are the storefront windows. And if those could be more the proportions of the original building, I would be in favor of the motion. So
Okay.
Well, if it's coming down 6 inches, that's where I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it.
so thank you, Ethan. The windows are going to be reduced 6 inches in height in addition to.
Yeah, that's how I'm getting to 6 inches. You'll see it in those picture windows.
Okay, all right, so the windows become squarer and the second floor ones as well? Okay.
Reduce each of the window overall heights by 6 inches as part of your motion, isn't it, Val?
Sure.
Okay. So with that said, Abby's questions is answered, and we're back to a vote. Let's see, Val,
Aye.
Abby,
I'm an aye.
Angus,
Nay.
Ray,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So 4 in favor for the record, Angus opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for working with us.
You do the Exhibit A?
No Exhibit A, it'll just be a notation on the application. I'll write it out.
Okay. Thank you.
We're on to 35 Meadowview, and Joe, just to remind you, this is your moment. You get to go first on both of these.
Well, I don't think it was updated online. The applications didn't look current to me.
Oh,
Yes, he's sharing, Trev.
Trev.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everyone. I'm here with my colleague Jillian. Well, we did submit our updated application. We can share it now as well, if you'd like.
Yeah, no, let's definitely have you do a screen view. That'll be there's no sense in us looking at something that isn't the update for whatever reason.
Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, so this is the garage revisions based on our meeting from 8/26. Let's go, why don't we go straight to the elevations, Jillian? And as Jillian is going to the elevations, I just want to mention that at our last presentation of the main house, we did make mention of the approved landscape in the backyard as well as the approved landscape submission in the front yard. And we can bring those up if you'd like to while we're discussing the garage and the guest house. But just let us know. Okay, so in terms of the garage, starting with the front elevation, we added upper lights into each of the 2 garage doors. We slightly narrowed the gables over each of the garage doors. And on the west elevation, that's the one to the left, we changed the lower windows to small double hung windows. We pulled the front gables back from the lower face of the wall a foot, and we pulled the rear shed dormer back from the face of the wall a foot as well. And then going to the rear elevation, you can see on the right, we brought the shed dormers in from the left and the right side as you had requested. So now it is 3 feet in from the right and 4 feet in from the left, and the 4 feet is just allows the shed to align for the major gable, as compared to the lower gable at the front. And then the proposed north elevation, it really remains very little changed except for the shed dormer being pulled in from the back and the front gable dormers being pulled in from the front. So that's the sum total of those changes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Trev. Very helpful, appropriate. Joe?
How come, maybe I'm missing something, but I don't see any clouds and the drawing page is labeled as 818 and this doesn't look like anything changed, so I'm confused. Like if I look at the west elevation, for instance, the dormer still goes end to end, left to right.
Yeah, I don't know. So we've got on our screen that we're sharing with the group.
Trev, hold on a second. Joe, are you looking at the YouTube or you're looking at what was online?
I'm looking at whatever's on the screen.
Or on the Zoom?
Yeah.
Because we see bubbles, so that's why I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I don't see any online.
Can you zoom in a little bit and see if there's just some type of a transmission issue? Does that help at all, Joe?
Nothing changed.
Oh, this is not updated.
You know, if I could offer, when we first came onto the call, we too went to the YouTube channel, and then we realized that that's just for, well, I'm not quite sure what's on the YouTube channel, because then we realized that was not the Zoom call, and we got back off of that and went onto the Zoom call. So I wonder, Joe, if you're on the YouTube feed.
No, I wouldn't be able to communicate with you.
Guys, hold on a second. It sounds like we're, can you try to zoom back out? Joe, did you get a zoom out too at the same time?
I'm seeing pages scrolling right now on the screen. You're on the site plan.
Scroll, yeah, no, you're on a different feed than what's being shown
Oh,
here.
look at that. Now it's there. I don't know what happened, but I didn't touch anything.
Okay, so someone pressed the button and all is good in the world. Can we zoom back in a little bit so Joe can, now that he's got this information from, he can digest it?
Sure. Yeah, so Joe, the feedback that we got at the last meeting was
Trav, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm gonna hold you there. Joe's accomplished architect and all that. we can see it and,
Yeah, if you go to the next page, that would be great. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any concerns. That I was confused by the stuff online, and then here on the screen, it was still the old one. So I have no concerns.
okay, thank you, appreciate it, and for helping us suss that out with some real-time feedback. Connie?
Yeah, I appreciate the changes. I have no concerns.
Great. Angus?
I agree.
Abby?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think it's great, looks good. Do we have a motion, please?
The motion to approve is submitted.
On your motion?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, we're on to the new guest house, same board, same property.
thank you very much. Okay, so let's go to the elevations on the guest house.
Okay, before we start, Trev, though, I just want to check in with Joe. Are you seeing a gable form with 3 windows on the first floor and 2 on the second, on the left?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. Okay,
Thank
Trev,
you.
go ahead, please.
All right, great. So the feedback that we got on the guest house is first on the elevation on the right, that's the entry elevation, that the shed dormer needed to be brought down slightly so that the distance between the top of the window head trim and the eave trim of the shed dormer was less. So we've done that. We've reduced that. And the other concern that was raised were the windows, the size of the windows at the lower level on this entry elevation. So we changed the size of those windows, increasing their height slightly, and you can see we went from a single window on the right to 2 windows by flipping the program inside the guest house, and that, I think, gives us a slightly more attractive and elegant front entry facade. The other comment was that the front entry was a little too restrained and not interesting enough. So we lifted the shed roof over it. We added some pilasters and a little transom window above the entry door. The final comment on this elevation was the large plate glass windows at the rear. So we swapped those out with a 2/2 Muntin language, and we eliminated the horizontal railing by introducing more of a shingled wall with a top rail detail.
Thank you.
In the elevation on the left, you can see that we changed the two windows at the top by making them a little larger, which seems to improve the proportion. We manipulated the eaves slightly, and then we also pulled in the stair on the left so that that element on the east elevation pulls back into the main mass of the guest house, and we changed it from a shed to a gable, and you'll see that, I think, in the next sheet a little more clearly. So the elevation on the right is the revision to the very simplistic guest house we presented originally. We've inserted a gable on the projecting bay, changed the square windows to more vertical double hung windows. That gable breaks up the run of the shed on this elevation, and we also added a window at the bottom right into that bedroom and changed the windows in the bay on the far left, as I'd mentioned, on the opposite elevation. And then finally, in the elevation to the south, which is to the pond, we changed the slider at the top to a single French door with two large side lights, and we changed the wider slider to a narrower slider down below. Actually, eliminated the slider, and those are added the muttons to those windows down below.
Thanks, Trev. Okay, let's see, same board. Any concerns? Abby?
I just wanted to ask, what is the elevation that is on Meadow View?
That is the bottom left.
Side of it.
That is, yes, the narrow elevation that faces Meadowview. And this was, by the way, the discussion we had relative to the main house, that the existing landscape is fairly robust there. And so the view of the guest house and the garage is fairly limited because of the existing and proposed landscape that was reviewed and approved at 8/26.
Yeah.
So the dotted lines are where that guest cottage was before?
That's correct. And that was previously approved for removal. And the new guest house is now aligned with the orientation of the main house and the garage.
Okay, right, okay, thank you.
Okay, what do we want to do, folks?
Can I make a comment on I'd like the front elevation? Maybe it's not that visible, but
Go ahead, Joe.
yeah, just the anyway, overall, I appreciate all the changes, and I think the water side or the pond side elevation is a huge improvement. And the front elevation, which I guess is the west, faces into the lot. I just feel like there's just a combination of little things relative to that dormer. I think the dormer could sit on the head casing. The windows, the meeting rails don't align with the eave. There's just it feels like a lot of wall area there. I don't know if it warrants a revision, but I just wanted to bring that up to see if anybody else had that concern. And it's a minor concern, but I don't know if the pilasters are necessary, but it's a small detail.
Thanks, Joe.
Mhm.
Let's see, Angus?
Yeah, I share that. same concern. I think the windows could get larger and the dormer roof can come down. That stairwell bump out has been a concern since the beginning, and I'm not sure that it's really helping to go with a gable on that. I think when you approach that, I think you're going down, so it might help to just drop all that a level and have the roof sort of come in at a lower angle. My concern with this is if the neighbor to the, I'm not sure what it is,
This is to the east.
where that bend in Meadowview Drive is, if they could just clear cut everything, like this is really close to the property line and that would be visible. Yeah, exactly. As we're looking at it now, the right side at the corner, as you sort of go around the bend, I feel like that's going to be visible. It's just an odd element. I think it would definitely help to get rid of the peak of the gable, whether it's a hip, but I think that it should be, the way the massing typically would go is that it just steps down as you go back. And for this to be up higher and the dormer to run into it, that's usually something we try to avoid. So I'd like to see some sort of revision to that.
Okay, thanks, Angus. Let's see, Connie?
Yeah, so I don't really have much to add. I would be in favor of maybe some larger windows on the front to kind of reduce some of that shingle space. But other than that, I appreciate the changes. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm with Joe on the axe to pilasters, lower the top, bury that window header or the dormer into the top plate to remove the shingle space up there, lowering the roof system. And I think just given the location of this structure and what's there and what's gonna be there, I'm okay with the rest of that. Oh, did I say the fenestration that Connie just mentioned? I wanted to say that. So those are my thoughts. It sounds like we're looking for.
Few revisions.
Yeah,
Yeah, minor.
Is this something we can exhibit A, guys?
I can't do it, but somebody smarter could.
I mean, I don't mind drawing it if.
Yeah, we certainly can accommodate all these requests, lowering the shed dormer, reducing the shingle above the windows, making the windows a little larger, bringing their meeting rail down to align with the eave. If I follow Angus's comment about the stair, dropping the eave of the gable so that it is lower than the intersection with the shed eave.
Yeah, I think so, and I think we're probably at the point where there's enough there to do revisions.
I'd make a motion to hold for revisions.
Okay, let's see, on your motion?
Aye.
And Joe?
Aye.
Connie?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Guys, we're getting into the lightning round area. 100R wall win it.
I can't see it.
Val, you with us?
Yep.
Okay. And Carrie,
Yep.
did anyone not view this?
From the wall.
I viewed it last week.
Yeah.
You didn't view it, like you can't see it, so that's the truth.
Right.
I got a rowboat and I went out there.
Did you take?
No, we don't have a boat, so I think it looks so similar to what's there, only improved and better.
Yeah.
I thought it was perfect the last time.
And okay, we're just jumping right in it. Abby, your comment, do you agree?
Yeah, I think the paints really help I mean, it's already a pretty nice looking building, but I think the paints help.
Okay, a little bit of elegance.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Can I
Carrie?
present my,
No.
Me too. I'm good.
Wow.
We look at the drawings and we make a determination, not listen to the words.
all right.
Carrie?
I'm good.
All right. Angus?
Yeah, I mean, it's an improvement on what's there.
Motion to approve is submitted.
I
Val.
will say Val on your motion.
Aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
and I agree with the other comments, and I'm an aye. Okay,
Thank
now we're
you.
on
By the
to
way, we added buttons.
One Cliff. Your aye?
He
I
is
saw
here.
that.
I'm promoting him to panel.
We saw it.
Promotion to panelist.
I'm here. Oh,
Hello, your aye. Go ahead, walk us through this little cabana.
okay. So, this from a while ago. Actually, I applied for this cabana, which was
Your aye? Are you sharing your screen? Because we don't see anything but you.
I'm not.
No, you're still there.
I'm going to share it.
No?
See.
Is there something going on that?
Yeah, I just need to turn it on. I just need a second.
Turn on your sharing.
Right here.
Got to be ready to roll. This is the people's time. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So, this the application from a while ago, and it's this proposed cabana which I last time when submitted it was kind of vertical, and maybe you didn't like how tall it was and short, and you didn't like the roof pitch. So I did some changes to overall shape of the building, where the most visible kind of would be the south elevation. So this one is what was previously submitted, and I changed it to made it longer and skinnier, so it actually lowers the ridge height and makes it look not as tall and skinny. And I did some changes to, of course, fenestrations and dormers and the stairs going to the second floor. From the pool side, from the where the pergola was, I made it narrower so it doesn't get as tall, and I removed the pergola. And
Okay.
and on the other side, from the north, the same thing, which is all the way in the back. And this here is from the west, where I changed the orientation stairs going to the second floor.
Okay, and then just quickly, if you go back to the site plan for a second.
From the, yeah.
And zoom out a little bit. Can you zoom out a little bit? A little bit more. Okay, great, thank you. All right, One Cliff Road, we've seen Holly's comments. Who would like to begin?
I will.
Al?
Yeah, Uri, thank you. I feel like you really listened to what we had to say. The proportions in your first rendition were almost opposite of what they should be, and now it's more traditional. The only thing I couldn't remember is what the main house looks like, and that was a concern for us to make sure they balance one another. But I went up there and this is far enough back. I think everything about it is fine. So I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Val.
Yeah.
Ray?
Can you pass me for now?
Yep. Angus?
I agree about the proportions getting so much better. It doesn't feel nearly as vertical. My only concern is really the thing that we try to avoid the most are these exterior stairs, and I feel like it's sort of front and center in relation to the street and the driveway, and I would much rather they it be on the east instead of the west, or coming, starting and having a bend more on the north side than the south side. And that's really my only concern. Otherwise, I think it's come a long way. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, Connie?
Oops. Yeah, I have to say I have the similar concerns as Angus about those exterior stairs. Other than that, I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Let's see, it's to you, right?
Yeah. It's funny, I think Lisa may have done the main house to this. I'm trying to remember, not that that matters, but I think the massing is still awkward. I think it's limited visibility, but the portion that you'd be able to see is what Angus highlighted, which is as seen from the west elevation. I believe that's called Cliff Lane. And the outdoor stair is sort of taking precedence over everything else. So I'd like to see that move somehow. Thank you.
Okay. I agree with the comments. So it sounds like some minor modifications.
Can we just swap those stairs, putting, as Angus was saying, like on the north side of that elevation, like coming on the gable side, gable end, or just putting them, on the north side, not on the south.
I have no
Will
issue
be-
moving this thing along if the commissioners, if the commission is comfortable with that. Is somebody willing to make a Exhibit A motion and mock it up?
I would make a motion. I don't know if I can do an Exhibit A from here, but I can print it and bring it in.
Okay, so what's the motion?
The motion would be to move the stairs to the north,
Okay.
a straight run. He'll have to change a door and a window, but that's fine.
Okay.
Isn't it possible to do them here?
I don't know what you mean, sorry.
You're right, could you say that differently?
I sketched it on the screen, like putting the stairs here, going like this up.
Right. So he's just saying flip-flop, I'm not,
Yeah, so they are further away from the driveway and.
I'm not suggesting that's what we're suggesting, I'm suggesting that's what he's suggesting. You're right, I think we just need to get a revision. I'm sorry. Well, the discussion here at the table is more about straightening the stair and turning it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. At least from me.
And Val, your comment about the stair was,
Well, it could go from the north and go up and turn the corner to, the gable to mitigate it.
I
We're
can do
trying to
that, yeah.
mitigate the double stair portion of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you are okay with Exhibit A going like this up.
Right on, brother.
Exactly.
all right, and Angus, I'm sorry, it seems like so long ago. What was your concern?
That was it.
Okay. So can, Val, your motion is Exhibit A, modifying the stair to start and end as shown on the screen.
Yep.
And Angus has volunteered to do an Exhibit A.
Who
And
did?
Angus.
Thank you, Angus.
Sure thing.
Okay,
Drafted.
that's my motion. Yeah, baby.
On your motion,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Ray,
I'm gonna abstain.
I think that was it.
Thank you.
Or you.
And me, I'm an aye. Okay. Now we are on to, I colored over it. What, Stephen, what address is this?
6 orange.
6. Oh, I just covered over a green space. There's nothing there. Okay. St. Mary's Church hardscape. 1, 2, 3, 4 folks. There's 4 to go after this. appreciate all your diligent work. The whole community does. When you see it, the floor is yours, Stephen.
Okay, thanks. Steve Hollister, representing St. Mary's Church. We're talking about the rectory at 6 Orange Street. We've implemented a number of the commission's requests. For the retaining walls, we removed the bluestone cap. We added a narrow planting bed at the base of the lower wall where the lawn is located to add space for a climbing vine. The intention is to make these walls go away as much as possible. The upper wall will be heavily planted so that we're screening as much of that exposed wall as is possible. We've improved some labeling for the rearward board fence at the back of the lawn. We added a label for the flagpole. The flag is being relocated sort of from the upper lawn. And is being put farther back on the lot and farther away from the road. In the driveway and parking area, we've reduced its size. We framed its perimeter with planting beds per commission request. We changed the material to pea stone. We've added a fence to the rear corner of the building to screen the bulkhead and kind of the rear utility area. And then we planted the front of the fence and kind of created as narrow an aperture as possible for a double gate, just to close down those view lines from Gardner Court. We've added a type 2 natural fence around all of the HVAC condensers to screen those, added some additional planting around an existing generator, and added just a few stepping stones at the end of the brick pathway that sort of leads into that rear utility area, just to sort of tighten things up and plant it and make the generator disappear. And I think that's it.
Okay, let's see, no abutters with hands up. Any questions? Mickey?
So our understanding was there was kind of a general concern of having two separate retaining walls on the north side of the building. We were hoping to see it look closer to what is there now, which is just a single wall. It would probably require some sloping of the grade, which is what's happening at the moment, I'm pretty sure. So, rather than the terracing that the two walls create. The other concern is down on the south side. I have to scroll up a little to see this. Scroll down, there you go. So there's quite a bit of parking on the south side, which is right on Gardner Court. That doesn't exist presently. I'm quite sure more parking than you normally expect to see in a residential neighborhood starting with commercial. And the other concern is, type 2 fencing around condensers is not quite enough screening. Oh, and I think it would be very helpful if a cross-section was done to show how that grade on the north side of the property is really going to look. It's not shown in this application. I think we should, that would be helpful to see. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so it's myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and Connie. Anyone?
Yeah,
Right.
I can go. I'm gonna take Stephen at his word when he says they're planting out the second wall and the first wall too, I guess, right?
That's
It's
what
kinda
the sort of
already
the
planted out.
climbing vine, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the salient comment for me from Mickey was the condensers, which are relatively close to the stone alley, appear only to have like a flower bed in front of them, other than the enclosure of the type 2 fence. So is there any way we can vegetate that a little bit more? The third point I just want to make is, yeah, there's a lot of parking, but this is a rectory, and I'm sure they need enough room to be able to have people. I guess I'm granting them an exception in this case. If it was a bank or something like that, I think I would have a different view, but because it's a church rectory, I don't see the issue, particularly if it's pea stone as it's described. Those are my comments, thank you.
Thank you. Abby?
Well, okay, I know we want to make things brief, but I just went to Pumpkin Farm,
Oh, boy.
and I was blown away by how cool that place is. But they have a combination of brick and Belgian block as a border, and it looks very Byzantine and very church-like. I don't know if you want to try this out, but I'm just saying, it is very neat looking, and somebody's got to do it somewhere.
It's
But-
already done. I think out of Pumpkin Farm.
Yeah.
You just got to go see.
That is actually what we show in the parking. So there's a brick path to the door and then Belgian block as a border.
Right, but what they had done, they had them side by side, so it went Belgian block, brick, Belgian block, brick.
Interesting.
Sort of, it's just a thought, but you don't have to do it. More serious thoughts. At the gate, going back to the condenser and around, you have some field stones, and then to break up the pea stone, I would just add more of those field stones going back in sort of a path, just to break up that material. The reason I thought of that was that these brick walkways do seem very hard, and if you did do a border like that one I just suggested, it would narrow that a little bit, and it just take away from all that brick. As for the two terracings, I don't know if that sort of holy grail, are those stairs going up, that cup shape?
Those are stairs, and the idea was to mimic the stairs on the front of the building.
So if we had to choose between one of those terracings, if they're integral to that stairway, would that take away from the, the structure that's going up these stairs? If you took the top one away, wouldn't you need both of those? Or maybe for sure the top one, but the second one, you probably could grade down. So if you were going to get rid of one terracing, I would get rid of the one at the bottom. So, thank you.
Thanks, Abby. Let's see, Angus?
Is there anyone besides me? I was
Connie.
busy with the A, so.
I'm fading quick.
Mia, I think I'm on it too, right?
Yeah, you're next.
Okay. You want me to go?
Go ahead.
So, yeah, I don't really have much to add. I think this is appropriate. I would be in favor of additional vegetation around the condensers, though. Thank you.
Thanks. Angus?
So I agree with the preservation planner's comments about the retaining wall not being moved, and that this project is CPC funded, which is holding a Secretary of Interior standard for the building and the property. And so I also agree with the either increased vegetation and/or natural vertical board fence that would hide the condensers. And I agree with the rest of the comments that have been made. Thank you.
Thanks. I think that leaves me. So I'm a board fence at the condensers, vegetation perhaps. And I'm actually okay with the retaining wall. And the parking, I think, is not great, but it's approvable. What do we want to do?
I'd make a motion to hold for revisions, but
On the motion, Connie?
I was hoping to move this, so can I?
You can
Hold
vote no
my-
if you're not.
Oh.
You know, it's nothing personal.
Okay, maybe no.
Okay, Ray?
Yeah, I was hoping to get it done too, and I feel like we're so close.
I know.
I'm gonna vote no too. For that
Angus?
reason.
I presume you're a yes.
Didn't it,
Yeah.
Abby?
were there any stipulations on it, or just a straight?
Revisions.
Oh, revisions, you mean the vegetation and the, well,
Well, but
I could second that to say, that there would be a board fence with added vegetation to hide the condenser.
As a revision is what
Yes,
we'll
it-
vote.
No,
Yes.
okay, so, see, Angus's motion is to hold for revisions.
I think Abby's just trying to give him some specific revisions to add. But I think we're.
But that would not be a through staff.
Right. So,
Maybe that's what he wants.
okay, hold on a sec, guys. We're at 2 noes and a yes on hold for revisions. Abby, it's your vote.
I would say hold for revisions.
Okay. I'm in the camp of, I think we can move this forward. It's very close, and I would make a motion that it would be that the air conditioning enclosure would be a board fence with some vegetative screening and as a notation on the approval.
Just a question on your motion, the board fence, does that go into the type 2?
Folks,
As opposed to.
point of order here. You didn't vote, actually. So.
Yeah, no, I did.
Did you vote no?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Didn't I vote?
Yes, I
Yeah.
thought you did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Angus's motion is.
Yeah,
all right,
I'm
so
making a
now-
motion to move it forward.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
That's
Takes me a
okay.
while. I'm catching up.
No,
And I just had a-
work-
I had a
have
question.
I have a working memory deficit.
I just
so
have a
thought it was
question
me.
on-
I always blame myself first. Abby?
So the board fence going across and going into a type 2 picket, is that,
I would just make it a board fence with cap on top. And then it
And then-
dispenses with the utilities being visible and
and then would the gate also be a board gate, or would it be
Yeah.
a type 2 picket?
board, all board.
Okay,
Does that answer your question or?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because it says type 2 picket here, and,
So replace the type 2 with board with a
Right.
type 2 cap.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so on the motion, Abby.
I'm an aye.
Okay, Ray.
Aye.
Angus.
Nay.
Connie.
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so 4 in favor, 1 opposed for the record, Angus. All right, I'll write that up. 8 Pine Street.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Matt McKecken would like to hold this.
Matt, what a
He was
gift.
here.
He was and he left.
All right, 126 Main.
I'm gonna bid you guys good night. I'm not on anything else.
Night,
Aye.
Val.
Good night, Val.
Bye.
Linda, we've seen this or not, do we need to turn the timer on? No. Okay, but we'll just do it for the interest of fairness.
We'll just go straight to the top then.
So this is unquick.
I believe it is
26 Main.
Ray,
Your board is myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and Connie.
Everybody at the table.
is there an alternate? Oh, Carrie's there.
Carries an alternate should she be required.
It dropped in.
You wanna go back to the first page up there? And then-
Fiona? Will you go to the first page, please?
Back now. You all had a difficult time, reading the previous file because Bracken's office had used the wrong original file. So we pulled the approved site plan, and put that on with the approved house plan. So So now the plan is much clearer. And we put the approved site, we put approved driveway on there, we just moved it over about 18 inches. And showed you where the reinforced turf membrane will be, just to make the select board happy, that we have no space, but we'll let her park on it. And if you go down a couple more pages, I've showed you what it looks like after we plant grass, because that was a condition from this board on the second curb cut on 8 Blue Mill. If you want to go down a couple pages, please. Right there. Right there. And that one's fairly old. That's at least 4 years old. And they rarely park on it because there's a car. So it's underneath the grass, and it's also questionable whether the HDC has any jurisdiction over it, but I don't want to play games with this, because the select board said so long as it's showing on a plan, they'll give us the original curb cut, but I can't even get the original curb cut that you guys approved without showing a second place to park.
Okay.
So that, then they wanted the 9 by 20, which is what we provided before, and they wanted a 7 by 17, which is fine with them, so long as it's on a plan. There it is. It's under the grass.
Okay.
You have jurisdiction. If you can't see it, you can probably drive away.
So-
That's questionable.
Do you have any other pictures to show us?
No, that's the most.
Okay,
that's
can
the
we go
closest
back to
one
the site plan, please, and zoom in? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, I just want to get us on.
Right.
Zoom in a little bit more, please. Yeah, way better.
Yeah,
Okay,
and he had 2 plans on the same page, and we took the other one off because that was just an existing condition.
all right. Let's see, any questions for Linda? Would you guys like to begin?
Can we please stay on topic?
Well, we've got a timer and people are gonna. Good evening, go ahead.
Good evening. Actually, this works here. All right, my name's Kevin Toth. My family and I live at 128 Main Street. As always, thank you to the HDC staff and commissioners for all your time and efforts on this, to preserve Nantucket's historic streetscapes. It's frustrating to see that this is back on the agenda to be rehashed. The HDC rejected the applicant's original request to have 2 spots, and after this was discussed in depth, the HDC had approved no more than 1 parking spot in this side yard along Main Street. That should be the end of the story here, right? Why are we really relitigating this? The reasons the HDC stated for not approving anything larger than 1 car spot are just as relevant or more. Additionally, commissioners clearly requested to see 3 legible site plans side by side on 1 sheet, with 1, the original approval for the hardscape, 2, what's currently there, and 3, the proposed plans that the HDC can zoom in and out on a PDF. Thankfully, the staff comments from Holly provide relevant plans and background. This nice little side yard along Main Street is already overcrowded. The applicant divided it up and built on it, and it's now being consumed by hardscaping. It's not appropriate in the OHD to have all this going on. There's now a big new shed, extended retaining walls, new stepping stones, all perfectly visible from and close to Main Street, and so will this reinforced turf, perfectly visible. And now the applicant is requesting secondary parking. The applicant voluntarily subdivided the lot, and we all know that there's an existing driveway and garage that could continue to be used by 126 Main Street, as it had been for well over a century until this new complicated spec development. There are no properties on Main Street with 2 curb cuts. This is also not statutorily required. We want to make that point very clear. Many Main Street homes share driveways with neighbors, including right next door to 126 at 128 and 130, and the houses after that at 132 Main Street. This isn't unique or unprecedented.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Just your signal to start wrapping it up.
Okay, yeah, I'll skip ahead. It's odd and unsightly to have a car parked in the lawn in the OHD. Nobody wants to see that along these historic streets, and it's not a trend we should start, particularly along Main Street. As Chairman Welch pointed out at the last meeting this was discussed, this is inappropriate in light of all the other changes going on there. He mentioned that this would look odd, and having this additional parking overburdens the lot, and the front parking should not be altered from what was previously approved. As Commissioner Patton mentioned, I don't think having a car parked on the lawn is appropriate. As Commissioner Camp said, We should just stick to the original one driveway because it would be too tempting to have something right there that could possibly be parked on and expect that it wouldn't be used. As Commissioner McLeod commented, the character and setting has been altered, and I think that this proposal would only make that worse. As Commissioner Pohl mentioned, it would look extraordinarily odd if, for example, there was a Mini Cooper parked there all winter long in the lawn just to get it off the street. As he noted, when it was originally approved, 1 car is okay, but 0 cars is better. We just ask that the HDC stick to its original decision and not allow these alterations that would not only undermine, but also amend both of the HDC's prior decisions regarding the driveway and the hardscape. This is a rehashing of what the HDC had already approved after extensive deliberation and should be denied for the same reasons the HDC had only approved a 1-car parking area. It's frankly a waste of everyone's time to be asking the HDC to change its well-thought-out decision and approve a parking space in the middle of a lawn of a property facing Main Street. We speak for more than just us and our neighborhood, our neighbors, in asking that the HDC please stick to its decision and shut this nonsense down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, if I just say one thing, the only reason we don't want to be here.
Linda,
The
no,
only reason we're here is
we're
because
not-
the select board is
I
requiring
understand,
us
Linda,
to do
but
that.
look, this is the thing.
We
We're an
don't wanna be
architectural
here.
review board, so we're gonna review the architectural review aspects.
But we don't want to be here.
Mickey,
Sure. Hey,
we do.
Fiona, sorry, could you scroll down to the
Collectively.
the picture of the car parked on the lawn?
Oh, the one that was just up there?
Yes, there you go, thank you. So this is exactly why we don't want to see this happen, whether it's temporary or all winter long or whatever. This would be very inappropriate to see this on Main Street, very evident right in the front yard. So that's our position. We still think it's inappropriate to create parking on the lawn. Thanks.
So we know car
Thank you. Okay, Linda,
people don't want
we understand. So your board again is myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, Connie. Who'd like to begin?
I'm happy to start.
Angus.
I feel like Kevin eloquently stated all the reasons why we voted against this before, and I'm still against it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Connie?
Yeah, I'm still not in favor of having, even if it's not going to be used, it could be used, having a car parked on the lawn. Thank you.
Thanks. Abby?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of the car parked on the lawn.
Ray?
Me too.
As I believe I said last time, the only way I think that this works is if there's a sprinkling of cobblestone that, so if the car is parked there, it looks like it makes sense. There's like something to park on. I
Well,
agree
if you wanna
that.
do that,
the
we do that.
Hold on a second, please. I'd like to just finish my thoughts. I appreciate it. The concept of parking on a lawn on Main Street is just so foreign. Parking on the street, it's a hardscape material. Parking on a lawn, anywhere, it's not. So those are my thoughts. Ray, I see you have a.
Well, I just wanted to follow up on that. I want to make plain, I guess, that, because I was pretty vague. If this were some other surface other than the grass, I'd still be against it for the same reason. You know, I don't want to see a car parked on grass, but I also don't want to see it parked on gravel or whatever it happens to be. Thank you.
In this location.
In that location.
Gotcha.
Could I ask Mr. Chairman a ruling on whether or not you have jurisdiction if it's underneath the grass and you can't see?
Well,
it
if you
from-
want to
from
hold the
road?
application, then you could do that, but it's not something we're gonna endeavor to,
It's not our purview.
Well, I'm
so-
just curious whether you feel like you have jurisdiction over something you cannot be seen from a publicly traveled way.
well, I think that's been asked and answered.
I don't think it's been answered that specifically.
Well, I think as a general matter, it's been asked and answered. I do believe that we do have, that the commission has oversight over, you're putting in for a parking space. So if you're putting in for a parking space, we're reviewing the material for a parking area, and we don't believe grass is appropriate. So we may not be able to see the support structure, but we see the grass. So I don't know, I mean, I guess you could get two lawyers in a room and they could pretty much argue about anything. I would prefer that we, you don't have support for it. That does not seem to be their support for even cobbles kind of strewn in there. I'm not saying like a row of them on each tire track, but it seems like you're not getting support for that. If you want to, I'm not quite sure the avenue you would take to get, town council is not gonna rule on this. You would probably have to go through, I'm not suggesting this, but I presume you would have to go through a denial and an appeal to determine maybe at the appeal level through town council, whether this is something the HDC rules on or not.
I'd rather not withdraw it, I'd rather get a denial, because maybe I can take that back to the select board to get the one space that you did approve, because I can't even get that.
I think I want to be really, really clear here about 2 points. One is that the HDC is making a determination of the parking material, number one. And the HDC believes that grass is an inappropriate parking material, pretty much anywhere, I presume, but certainly on Main Street. And number two, Ray?
So, I think a denial is where this is going. I think it goes beyond the grass, not grass. What it also should include is the fact that I'm pretty sure that a majority, at least of the board members sitting on this, all would agree that a parking spot sort of diagonally situated kind of up on the yard is inappropriate on Main Street. Whether it's brick or cobblestones or whatever, grass is sort of the least visible one, but I think we're also, at least me, I'm objecting to the location sort of diagonally off of another parking space, of a second parking space, simply to fulfill a requirement that the town has for parking. So, want to make sure that's part of it, because if we just say it's about the grass, it gets remanded to say, oh, go back to the HEC and this time ask for cobblestone. So I don't want to do that spiral.
And
Okay?
that's number two.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be very helpful going back to the select board.
Angus?
To Ray's point, I don't think anyone can vote really against grass on Main Street. Plenty of houses have sod. The issue here is about voting on the application is for a parking space, which I believe we've all found inappropriate, in addition to what has been approved.
Right, but I just want to be, so this is number three. The HDC is not voting on parking spaces. We're not voting on it's not our purview to vote on whether a car is appropriate somewhere. It's not part of the guidebook. It's not we are voting on architectural elements and structures. That is part of the act. So the thing to hang your hat on here is the location of the parking relative to the materials, and primarily the materials. And it is deemed that, of course, there's grass in yards. There's also mulch and other materials, but that's not the point. The point is that the HCC is, to my understanding, determining that grass is an inappropriate material. We are also determining, to Ray's point, and I think correctly so, and to Angus's point, that another material located in that area, atypical layout, which is to say angular, not perpendicular to the street or parallel, is also inappropriate. So there's two aspects there that are clearly defendable and rightfully so in front of an appeal. And I think that I would suggest that those are the basis for a motion of denial.
And thirdly, there's no precedence for, on this streetscape, on Main Street, there's no precedence of a driveway going up at an angle for the car.
That's part of it, that's part of it.
So it sounds, and I don't want to put words, but it sounds like we're looking at a motion to deny based upon an inappropriate surfacing material for Main Street, for parking at a home on Main Street. and also the location and orientation of whatever material would be required for the parking space.
That's my motion.
Okay, so I think we're all here. On Ray's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously.
That will be very helpful when we get back to
Yeah, I look forward to arguing that one.
I don't know if we'll appeal it, we'll just take the denial back to this level and say, look, this is where we are, why would I appeal it?
Okay.
All right. So you're up again, Linda.
And I'm gonna say goodnight, everyone.
Yeah, good night, Stephen, thanks.
Thank you all for your hard work.
Let's see, who, I mean, we have a board of myself,
Hold on, Ray,
Abby, Angus, Joe. Joe, are you still out there?
I am listening
All right, so
intently.
we're gonna do what Stephen calls a lightning round. Connie's on this. Okay, so we're looking at the last one of the 6 buildings for this Tombs Court.
on that map above is the lower right-hand side, the one that faces the building number 2, that's not C that faces.
Is lot C,
It's
lot
been
2?
redesigned per your request.
Seems like lot B.
Okay,
We revised,
this is,
included 1 story, we changed the orientation of the front door, we lowered the bridge, and the other ones. Sort of changed the whole process. The reason why the hardscape is in there, because when we changed the footprint of the
Yep.
building, the hardscape changed, but the hardscape is all the same as the other.
okay.
So if you want to shoot it over to Dinah, is Dinah up there? She is. Okay, Dinah can actually give you more.
Dinah's on there?
Yes, she should be up there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Chair. I'm having a little hard time hearing Linda. Are we ready to?
Are you plugged in over there? I hope so.
That doesn't get said often, sorry.
What?
He said that doesn't get set off a lot of times.
Done.
Okay.
I just wanted to go to the elevation.
So Dinah, continue.
Okay, so in response and addressing the HDC's comments from the last meeting for building number 2 on lot C, we did revise the footprint to include some 1-story massing to vary the roof heights. So now we have a roof height at 13'3" and a roof height at 27.5. And we did lower the building. That was another concern by 1 foot. It was previously 28 feet 7 inches. And another comment, which we agree with, is the main commercial entry was facing the neighboring building. Now we have rotated it to face Tombs Court. So this is unique to this site in that the ADA entry path is now terminating in the front yard versus the side yard, like the neighboring building. So it's different than a neighboring building for that main entry. The 1-story portion is located between lots C and B, and I think this helps to buffer the buildings even more between one another. It does include a secondary commercial entrance as a side door off of Tombs Court facing north, facing the adjacent building. And I think the 1-story massing also helps to emphasize the staggered nature of this building along Tombs Court. We do have a larger first floor footprint, which the commissioners in the past have asked to ground the building more with a larger first floor footprint, so we were able to do that. And it's evident on the 3 elevations. You can't really see it from the west elevation, or the south elevation. Other minor comments, we mirrored the gable portion facing Tombs Court to the other side and deleted a small bump out that was kind of an odd detail. It just cleaned it up basically. And then we revised, the other comment was to use the larger window types A. And so we have done that with less shingle between the first and second floor. We did keep 1 B window on the north elevation above the side massing that's below the 13'3" massing. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Dinah, thank you. I'll put it right to the board now. What do we think about this revised application for this?
I'm happy to start.
Go ahead, Angus, thank you.
So I appreciate the additive massing on the north. I just think it would be a lot more successful if the eave were on the north and went up, tucked underneath that north window above it.
You're talking about the eave of the little roof, the single-story piece.
Yeah, if it started right above that gabled door.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just a shed that goes back to that. I think that would be more successful for the sort of the additive massing look.
It's on the north.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also seen from the side on the east and west. Okay, Angus, thank you. Next.
I could go. This is Joe speaking.
Yep.
I appreciate these changes, and I think the shifting of that gable on the east elevation towards the left opens up some space visually between the buildings. And I hadn't thought of what Angus just described, but I think that's a great idea, that gable wart becomes a shed roof wart. I think that would also help to point to the ground. So I'm in agreement with Angus's suggestion. Otherwise, I have no concerns.
Thank you, Joseph. Who's next? Connie?
Sure. Yeah, I have nothing to add. I agree with what's been said.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, Connie, thank you. Abby?
So Linda, let me make sure I'm on the right one. Lot C, building 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right on James Square.
Right, okay. So that gable that's to the left of the front door, is there a reason to have those 2 feet to the left? Or could that gable just expand the whole front there? I don't understand why this is.
I see it to the left of that gate.
Yeah, it doesn't have, it just makes it look like it's unthought, where this could just be one mass and simplify it. Just this seems.
They're, if I may, Mr. Chair, they're in different planes. If you want to go to the 3D version, down a couple pages. If you look at, I'm sorry, go up one page, please. Zoom in on the bottom left corner where it says revised C building 2.
Mhm.
Could you zoom in on that just a little bit? Revised C building 2.
Dinah, what are you suggesting?
Oh, I'm suggesting if we make if we make a shed roof for the additive massing, are they referring to the shed roof over the main entry?
No, okay.
Oh, I apologize.
Wait, okay, so let me just say a few things here. Earlier on, Angus had suggested taking the single-story gable that faces north now and turning it into a shed. Joe agreed that that was a good thing to do, as did Connie, as I am about to do. And now Abby is suggesting that rather than have the space to the left-hand side of the gable that faces Toombs Court, to have that whole thing be a gable.
Move it over to the left.
Yeah, it just looks like a fake little indent from all angles as far as.
Make it flush with the
Well,
end.
Yeah.
okay, I have thoughts on that
There's a
one.
reason why it's not that.
All right, well,
So, but Abby, continue.
no, that's
is
my
it?
only thought. Otherwise,
So,
I don't have any.
I'm afraid, like personally, if you look at Lot A on the same view, that it says revised Lot C Building 2, if you look at Lot A, there's a rebate between the gable and the secondary gable that runs into it. That is very common. Hopefully very common additive massing concept that we see on Nantucket. When a gable does a flush corner with another gable, it's sort of like the gable turns into an eave, which I find to be a sort of modern and somewhat awkward detail. So I hear you, Abby, but I do like the fact that the building steps back towards, that's the drive on that side. So the building is sort of set back, the gable is set back from the drive as you drive in. But I actually appreciate the changes. I also appreciate the idea of changing the gable to a shed. I believe that was everyone,
Do
right?
that through staff?
Oh, I'm sure we can. Yeah,
I'm happy to make a motion to approve as submitted with the exception of the north gable becoming a shed, and I'm happy to do
Talking about the
a,
first floor element.
yes, and I'm happy to do a Exhibit A.
okay, there it is. Thank you, Angus. So Angus's motion is to approve as per Exhibit A. Only change would be that gable will turn into a shed facing north. Let's see, we got to do a voice vote on this. So Connie?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
Angus?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm in favor. That motion carries. Now we'll just take a quick look at the landscape and we can all go home.
The only thing that changed was the footprint on the plan.
Oh, and this plan we've sort of seen because
You've seen the other
there's
two.
common characteristics.
Yeah. We wanted to make sure that the site plan matched the new.
So Linda, nothing particular important that we need to make note of here?
No.
Okay. Comments from the board on this one?
I could go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just say, like, I've become to be okay with this project, but I would say next time when we have a development like this, if we could make a little more public space for the people in these buildings and not so much driveway. But that's just a sort of a global thought. That's all I have. Thanks.
All right. Otherwise, you're okay?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Who's next?
I have no concerns.
Okay,
I don't have any.
and, all right.
I don't
Joseph,
need-
anything?
No concerns.
All right, we can move it.
Motion to approve as submitted?
Very good. Thank you, Connie. Let's see, on Connie's motion, Angus,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. That concludes our festivities for the evening, folks. Let's see, let's see, the formal, no minutes. Okay, all we need to do now, I think, is motion.
Motion to adjourn.
There we are, Abby, thank you. We'll just take the people at the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all, thank you all.
Good night.
Night, night.
Before everyone runs, sign that.